All right, 5th and 6th graders, so we're going to talk about both geometric and organic shapes. And then also positive and negative space. So we're going to start with geometric shapes. Your geometric shapes are more like your circles, your squares, your triangles, your rectangles, all the shapes that have rules to them. So you know a square has 4 equal sides. A triangle always has 3 sides. A circle is perfectly round. Those are all geometric shapes. They have rules. Organic shapes that Henry Matisse liked to use didn't really have rules. So they were more shapes that you would see in nature. So a shape that might look like a leaf, or he had some that looked more like people. Just ones that you can kind of make up as you go. So those are organic shapes, more natural shapes that don't really have rules. So one side can be curved while the other side is sharp. Those are all organic shapes, okay? Then you have positive and negative space, all right, and shapes. So when you're talking about a positive space, that would be the area in here. It's taking up the space, and the negative is everything around it. So when Henry Matisse was making his shapes, he liked to play with both the positive and the negative spaces. So he would cut a shape, and then he would use the leftovers, and then you have a negative space in between these 2 positive spaces. So on this project, I'm going to encourage you to use both the positive shapes, the leftovers, and then also think about using some of that negative space to make a shape. Okay, so for this project, you're going to have a couple layers on your paper. You can decide to do shower or bathtub. I'm going to do bathtub for my example, and it will match the example that you will see on the board as well. But you're going to start with a gray piece of paper in your background. Then you're going to fill your background with shapes. They can be geometric, they can be organic, either one. You can use a little bit of both. But the first round of layering here is you're going to cut out big shapes, and you can kind of play with the colors too. You want colors that kind of will go to look nice together and go together. All right, so and you want to use probably liquid glue, because sometimes the stick glue doesn't stick very well and you'll have things pop off. So you can use the liquid glue, and then just remember just to use dots and not a lot. You don't need a ton of glue for things to stick. Okay, so I'm just going to start. I cut out some larger shapes already, and you can kind of take note of these in the background. You probably pick like 4 or 5 large shapes to put in your background. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some of them on here. I have just a couple dots on the back. Don't want to go right next to the edge because that'll make a mess. So I'm going to leave a little bit of that negative space around here. I still want to see parts of my background color, okay? And I'm going to use this piece. Remember, dots, not lots. Don't worry worry about making your shapes super complicated. Just keep it pretty simple. And like I said before, I'm gonna use my other piece, part of my scrap, and create a negative shape there. So save your scraps, so you might use them for something else, as our artist did also. Okay. So right now I have 3 pieces on here. Make sure it sticks really nicely. If you just smooth it down, it'll be okay. I'm trying to go quickly so you don't have to watch me for too terribly long. I have one with a jagged edge here. And I have the other part of it. I don't have to put it right next to this other piece though. I can use it in another area. And then I'm going to do one more piece here. And this is just the corner piece. And I'm going to put that one right here. So I have a nice balance of colors in my background. And then I also have a nice balance in my space. This side doesn't seem like it has more shapes than this side. And that's what you kind of want to do. You want to make sure they're all kind of spread out. You have some thin ones on this side, some thin ones on this side, thick on this side, thick on this side. Just try and keep it balanced, okay? So then the next step will be to have some smaller shapes to put on. And I cut out some more organic looking shapes for my smaller shapes. And I'm just going to kind of put those in and around on top of what I already have. So you want to pick colors that overlap, that go well together, but then also pop out. I have some more leaf looking shapes here. These can go on top of your bigger shapes. They can go in between, either one. I had saved the other part of the shape here that I'm going to use. Then I had also saved this part of it as well. So for each layer, you probably want 4 to 5 pieces. So I had 4 to 5 large pieces in my background. You can have 4 to 5 smaller pieces here. And then in the next video, I will show you how to do your name then on top of this.